Greetings, everyone, and welcome to today's competitive computing webinar on C2 and Snowflake, the cloud data platform. My name is Dave Clark. I'll be your host for today's event. Now, before we get started, just a few notes. This will be an interactive webinar today. We'll have a live audience Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. And if you have any questions at all, you can type them at any time into the Q&A box that you'll find on your screen. We're interested today in all of your questions, so get them all in. We want to hear from you. We'll try to answer as many of them today as we can over the next 60 minutes. Also, if your question is specific to one particular person, be sure to indicate that person's name in your question if you could. You can also use the Q&A box to communicate with me if you're having any technical problems during the webinar. Just let me know what the specific problem is, and I'll provide some help. All right, so let's get started with today's presentation on C2 and Snowflake, the cloud data platform, and let's begin by meeting our speakers. Kevin Powers is the VP of Enterprise Systems at C2. He's been with the company for 3 years and in the enterprise technology space for 20 years. Kevin's focus is around the total experience across C2 clients' cloud infrastructure, integration, solution services, and personalized managed services. Jonathan Curry is Data Services and PIM Practice Manager at C2. He's been with C2 for 8 years and in technology consulting for 15 years. Corey Stratford is Sales Director at Snowflake. Corey works with Snowflake customers in Vermont and parts of Massachusetts, and he's been in the high-tech space for nearly 7 years. And Mo Masood is a solution architect at Snowflake. He helps customers achieve business outcomes through data and analytics, focusing on AI and emerging technologies. So we'll be hearing from Jonathan, Corey, and Mo a little later on, but first up today is Kevin. So I'm going to turn things over to you now, Kevin. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you, David. Quite the introduction. And again, thanks for everyone joining the webinar. We're very excited about today and a little bit of our own virtual launch of our partnership with Snowflake amongst our partner ecosystem. So thank you for joining. Appreciate all the feedback and also the ability to kind of validate the way we see this market unfolding in the future. So really encouraged by the members that are joining the webinar and your feedback. So as a quick C2 marketing commercial here, and for the folks that aren't intimate towards how we are approaching our clients, but we're a digital solutions company. We have a breadth of products and services that span both the e-commerce, application development, software integration, all the way down to the infrastructure and the whole technical stack, all the way down to lifecycle management and lifecycle maintenance programs, so that it allows our customers to get a better experience as they look at cloud adoption and cloud services long term. We're over a 27-year company headquartered up in Colchester, Vermont, but we have national and global reach. We view our engineering team members as really value orientated, very experienced, and we like to solve the complex problems. So obviously when we talk about data and we talk about a little bit about our services, you'll see why we think that the Snowflake technology is addressing some of those complexities and is making it really easy for our clients to adopt a data platform moving forward. So as we talk about our services on the next slide, we really position ourselves, with one integrated team, all the way from the strategic insights, where we talk about what business or clients' competitive advantage is, how they differentiate themselves in the marketplace, how are their organizations ready for change, and things along those lines, all the way down to the cloud managed services, where our team members are helping manage both their tenant access, control add deletes, asset life cycles. So everywhere in between the spectrum is where the business happens, right? In our data integration platforms and our e-commerce and API-driven developments, we really view our ability to strategically align with our customers as our differentiator. So when we look at the full, digital transformation, we're able to do all of these things along, or our clients are able to do these things with one team. And if we're doing it right, these are very long-term, partnerships with our clients. And when we look at, some of the successes over the past 27 years, we measure our clients in decades. And that's really important for, not only our value statement, but it's also important for how our clients adopt and use technology to increase their competitive advantage. So we think we have some secret sauce there. And we're very excited to bring in Snowflake into our partner ecosystem to help fill what we think to be over the next 5 to 10 years, even more business insights around data, the data management experience, and making that easy. So the rest of the agenda is going to be focused in on Snowflake, with Corey presenting through the Snowflake technology and the ecosystem. And we're going to have both Jonathan and Mo talk about, some of the technical integration points and a little bit of a call to action at the end. So full day, or full morning, I guess I should say, full webinar. And really looking forward, again, to, folks' feedback on, how we're approaching this market and, the relevance of this technology into your own business model. So thank you, David. And, Corey, looking forward to another great session with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kevin. And appreciate everyone hopping on. So really the goal for me here, and by the end of my presentation, I want everyone on the phone to understand really who Snowflake is, what we do, why it matters, and really why Snowflake's different than any other cloud data platform out there today, and why we've really taken the industry by storm. And I think it really, where Snowflake is so laser focused on is data, right? Data is becoming the world's most valuable resource, right? Every company that we talk to, Kevin and I, they're trying to become more data driven. They're trying to make faster, quicker business decisions from their data to really enable them, especially in the times that we're looking at now, when you look at COVID. As we come out of this, every organization is going to want to understand their customer data and why they should be doing what they're doing moving forward. So when you talk about who Snowflake is, right, so it kind of helps to go back to when we were founded in 2012. And these were the 3 technology trends in 2012 that we were at the precipice of, right? So our founders were 2 ex-Oracle employees who went to their boss back in 2012 and said, hey, we'd like to build a cloud data platform that takes advantage of the rise of the cloud. The cloud is really just at the beginning in 2012. This data was starting to explode, and as we saw IoT and mobile data sources, really become the future at this point, we wanted to understand how we can take more advantage of that. And then the diversification of analytics. Today, everyone across an organization is being an analyst. At that point, analytics was in its infancy, and it was really siloed in different pockets of an organization, right? So our founders said, we want to build this cloud data platform. We want to allow our customers to take advantage of the infinite scale and the infinite resources of the cloud. They asked Oracle, can we do it? Oracle said, nope. And then they went and founded Snowflake, right? So you fast forward to where we are today as a company, almost 3,500 customers, over $1 billion worth of funding. Snowflake has continued to grow and align itself to these trends. And, like I said, what these trends have allowed us to do is, build a platform that enables our customers to make better, quicker business decisions, be more data driven, reduce the cost of some of their monotonous data processes and analytics processes of the past, and then gain a greater customer experience with data, whether that be internal users, within an organization using data, or external third parties that are consumers of your data. User experience was really paramount when we built our platform. So our journey to where we are today, and really what we are one platform for all data to run many workloads. So as this You see this graph here. You start on the beginning is really an on-premise data warehouse. And then it evolves to a cloud data warehouse that's really just that architecture ported to the cloud. And then some combination with some of the newer technology in 2014, 2015 around the data lake, right? Snowflake is like I said, one platform for all your data. Allows you to have secure governed access to this data with unlimited performance and scale of the cloud, and gives you near zero management. Almost nothing you're going to have to do within Snowflake. We provide that as a service. So when you look at a traditional data architecture, right, and this is kind of, you see the spaghetti there in the bottom. You have your data sources on the left, whatever those may be, and some of the C2 team will get into this later and how they specifically help with on both sides of this, right? So you have your data sources on the left and you have your consumers on the right. The steps in between getting your data from your sources to your consumers, that's where the time to data value is. And the faster that our customers can see value from that data, the better. And that's where you're going to be able to make some transformational, insights within your business. So you have this integration layer, you have this transformation layer, aggregation layer. You need to prepare that data for analytics. As you go across the spectrum, what each of those hops is, in what each of those technologies is time. Right, and time is so important in gaining value from your data, right? What Snowflake is, focused on doing for all of our customers is reducing the time to value with a customer's data set. So these are the three, and these are the six, real use cases that we've seen our customers, use Snowflake for, and using that one central repository for with their data. So, data engineering, both on, with ETL and ELT workloads, allowing that compute processing power to be done within Snowflake. You have your data analytics, your data warehousing, data lake workloads, allowing for faster analytics at scale, again, with that one platform for all of your data. Data science and data applications using Snowflake as that workhorse on the back end to be able to do some of these complex workloads and back end these data intensive applications. And then the data exchange. We've allowed our customers to transform their data ecosystems, allowing access to be given to data sets across their own organization, but also with their third-party customers and data consumers. And really this is why it matters, right? Economics, especially the time we're in, people are looking to cut costs and gain greater ROIs and TCOs with technology, increase productivity, scale with the data and the consumers that they have, decrease concurrency, and improve performance and elasticity. So again, to what Snowflake is, this is the architecture that separates Snowflake. So you start in the middle with our storage. So we are across the three major cloud providers. We are cloud agnostic, whether that be in AWS, Azure, or GCP. And that storage, if in AWS terms, it's S3. In Azure terms, it's Azure Blob, Google Cloud Storage. That durable storage and cheap storage is the basis of where data lives within Snowflake. What we do and what separates Snowflake from our competitors is we separate storage from compute. So what I mean by that is you have one central copy of your data. You're able to run multiple workloads, whether it be your BI workload, your data science workloads, marketing workloads. You're able to, and you see this in each of those cogs around the circle in the second layer, you're able to run different MPP compute clusters against one set of data at the same time. Because not only do we separate the storage from the compute, we separate each compute cluster from one another. So while you're running your ETL jobs, loading data in, you're able to run your BI workloads. You're able to do your reporting, which really separates us from any other data platform out there. In the top layer, that's our cloud services. So that's where any management will be done, whether it be around security, role-based access controls. That's where the metadata lives. That allows us to do a lot of our different monitoring and optimization that Snowflake does, again, as a service. We do almost an update a week, which is seamless to our customers. We're trying to get that to 3 updates a week. So this is really the secret sauce behind this 3-tiered architecture. Right, and for a cloud data platform, these should really be the non-negotiables that our customers look for, right? Having one copy of their data. There's so many challenges that we see and try to solve for our customers is getting away from data silos. How can you create value with all these different sources and all these different types of data across an organization? The first step in that is get it to one place. Having secured governed access. So once that data is in one place, let's make sure the right people and more importantly, not the wrong people are looking at that data and having access to that data. And then, near zero maintenance and management, providing something as a service. All of our customers want to be doing more than just keeping the lights on. Anyone that's managed or tuned a database over the years knows how cumbersome of a process that can be. This is really a data platform as a service. Near zero management. We want you to be doing transformational things within an organization, not any monotonous tasks. And then lastly, performance and scale. With the evolution of the cloud, we should be having our customers do as much as they can with the infinite resources of the cloud, not being confined to resource constraints within an on-premise or an on-premise ported into the cloud environment. So this is what the pipeline looks with Snowflake, right? So you have Snowflake as that single repository for all of your data, running a multitude of different workloads on top. You have your data sources on the left, like I said, your data consumers on your right, getting that data from one end on the left to the right as fast as possible is Snowflake's goal. And that's how we allow our customers to reduce their TCO within analytics and get faster time to value from their data. So I know the C2 team, has obviously partnered with us very closely and has a tight story around how they help their customers with business applications and business insights. So Jonathan, if you want to take over from here.
Sure, thanks, Corey. So taking a look at how Snowflake will help achieve those business insights and take advantage of that platform to get those new outcomes or answer those questions that tie back the different data coming from your different systems is what we want to be able to help you do. So at C2, you'll know that we're very familiar in the long history in e-commerce, as well as in the PIM and MDM space, and we've often integrated with order management, ERP, and CRM systems. And so Snowflake is really one area where we can take what we know and what we work with our clients on, and to take that information that's coming from those different business applications and being able to consolidate it, take advantage of the multiple workload processing, and answer some of those new questions. How does it look to connect your order history with customer inquiries coming through your CRM along with your e-commerce product catalog and some of your main reference data that's coming out of your PIM and MDM systems. How would it look like to consolidate and have all that data related and be able to not just do some reporting or what if analysis, but to syndicate some of that through the data exchange and to take advantage of all of that in that cloud data platform. So that's what we're really excited to do here with Snowflake in this partnership. And we think that it really can help C2 and our clients maximize the value of the investment in all of their enterprise applications. So if you want to take some of the next steps here, what we're excited about to do at C2 is help get in there and analyze your current architecture. As you know, and I mentioned, we have infrastructure experts, we have MDM and commerce experts. We can help define that roadmap of opportunities as to how you get your existing ecosystem into the Snowflake cloud data platform, looking at your system process tools, and then like the Snowflake team said, get up and running and execute quickly. So Snowflake is a platform that can ingest data, and you don't need to do a lot of preparation to get the data into the platform. You get it in, it's up and running, and you can start working and seeing what you can do with the data and really get access to those business insights quickly.
And Jonathan, this is Kev. If you could, just get back here. The also compelling value prop with Snowflake, I think, that we've really gravitated towards is it's a single copy of your data, and it's being used by different folks that want to get different insights. And they may have had to create silos of information or silos of, different data assets. And then instead of having them, be distributed, be unsecured, be managed separately, Snowflake does provide that single consolidation and allows different business users to really kind of get at different value points. We're pretty excited about that. We think that there's a compelling financial statement to be made there around analyzing where all of those silos of information are being stored and who's using them to bring into this platform. So it does have a financial implication, especially in these times where we're starting to think about cost justification measures and cost avoidance and cost savings. So not only is the tool very powerful and very consumption based as far as how you use the Snowflake platform, but we also think that it helps justify itself against kind of that siloed approach inside of an organization's data strategy. So just wanted to jump in there, Jonathan. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Kevin. And I would say for our customers that as we look to kind of the next steps slides that we have coming up, our customers are using Snowflake. Ideally for all of our customers, we'd love to see all 6 of these workloads being used within an organization. That's not always the case, but the great thing about the Snowflake model is as a consumption-based model, pay-as-you-go model. If you have one use case that you want to try within Snowflake, you can absolutely do that. Bring it on, test the value, see if all the great documentation that we're telling you is true or not, and test it out within your own environment. And then, see if there's opportunity throughout the organization to add use cases to it. Sorry, Jonathan.
Absolutely. So moving on, possible next steps, just listing it out right here, looking at a virtual hands-on lab, doing some proof of concept, what can you do with the Snowflake platform, as well as C2, and we've done this with many of our customers across our different domains, doing some workshops to look at both your data flow and how it goes through those enterprise applications, and what are the different ways you can utilize these different features and workloads of Snowflake to take advantage of its capabilities. And then lastly, data profiling assessments. You know, looking through sample data sets and performing some profiling and taking a look at, again, where the Snowflake platform can uncover some different business value opportunities.
So this is just a list of some of the customers that we have, you know, locally and also across the country. This list is growing day by day across all different verticals. The nice thing is with our customers, a lot of them are getting our technology and finding new use cases for Snowflake, you know, that we haven't even thought of. So, you know, our customer base continues to grow. If anyone would like a customer reference that wants to hear from a customer story, we have a lot of those, you know, documented on our website, as well as, you know, any engagement that you have with Snowflake, or they'll more than happily, you know, connect you with some of these customers. And then our ecosystem, right? You know, as that middle piece in the puzzle, right? As the data platform and that one repository for all your data. You know, we have a lot of partners that we work with. You know, on the technology side, obviously C2 is a huge partner and does a great job here locally in Vermont and the New England area. But we also have, you know, national partners that we work with, and more importantly, the technology partners, you know, that do BI and ETL and, you know, visualizations, machine learning, all those partners we tightly connect with and give you guys a great experience for your data.
And Corey, before moving on, you know, just real quick, it was something that I believe should be pulled out and talked about a little bit. The data exchange and, you know, kind of the Snowflake marketplace. Can you talk quickly around the FactSet integration?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point. So yeah, so the data exchange, right? If you think of the data exchange, there's two paths for the data exchange. The first is what we are now calling our Snowflake Data Marketplace. So if you think of the Snowflake Data Marketplace as an app store, think about on your phone, you go to the you know, app store on an iPhone or an Android, right? So you have the opportunity to go scroll through tiles and click for an application and pull that onto your phone. The Snowflake Data Marketplace is that for data sets. So we have, you know, I would say tens, if not, you know, over the next couple of weeks, we'll have hundreds of different companies on this Snowflake Data Marketplace providing data sets to our customers, right? So FactSet is one in particular that has, you know, the aggregations of a lot of different financial data and market insight data for the financial space. They have come into a very close partnership with Snowflake, and they have over 50, I think it's almost 60 data sets that they have on our data marketplace. So what that is, if you're going into your Snowflake account and you're going through our data marketplace and this app store for data, and you see a data set that you want, there's a couple different ways that we do that. Some of them are given free, like the census data we have on there for free. So you just click that, you immediately have access to that data, and you can pair it with your data to query. The companies that we work with that are on that public data exchange, they have, a lot of them have more freemium type models where they have some free data sets and then some data sets that you can subscribe for and pay for. No big data movement. It's all done within Snowflake. You're actually just getting a secure view into that data. So data actually never moves, which is super helpful. We have customers spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on porting data from some of their third parties and making it in a place where they can query it and preparing it, right? So FactSet is really taking a hold of that on the Snowflake side from the financial side. But you know, we have different companies that are trying to find new ways to productize their data. You know, whether that be in the food and beverage space, whether that be in the retail space, whether it be in the IoT mobile tracking type space. A lot of these companies that have had all this data for a long period of time and have thought, you know, we use this data a ton internally. This is helping drive our business. How can we find new streams of revenue from selling this data? That's on the public data exchange, right? That data marketplace. The other end of that spectrum, Kevin, is the private data exchange, right? So if you're a company that has a lot of, you have a specific group of third parties or you know, number of your customers that come to you to get data sets, you can set up your own marketplace just for a specific number of customers. So say you have, you know, 20, 30 different companies that come and grab specific data or tailored data to them from you guys, you can set up a private data exchange and have that data ecosystem easily accessible for you, more importantly, and your customers. And we allow you to monitor and productize that, you know, depending on, and making sure the right people get access to that data, and making sure it's updated as you'd like, and try to personalize it a little bit more on the private side, specifically for a specific organization. So Kevin, I hope that, I know I kind of went off on a soapbox there, but I hope that helped explain a little bit more about the data exchange.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you highlighted both the public and the private. And then, you know, as we focus in on, you know, C2's customers around, you know, the e-commerce and the PIM and, you know, leveraging different ERP packages like SAP or Oracle, a lot of our, you know, premium clients here are dealing with, you know, multiple different ERP packages, multiple different, you know, data sources, and trying to get a single view of it. So we really think that internal, you know, kind of private data exchange with Snowflake will be a differentiator long-term, outside of everything that you're doing, Corey, on, you know, the cloud data platform and, you know, the data lakes and, you know, the business insights. We really think that data exchange is going to be compelling long-term. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys do more advancements in that area for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a big announcement. Our summit was supposed to be the first week in June. Obviously, with COVID, that was canceled. It was supposed to be out in Las Vegas, but we do have a big announcement coming from our summit, and some of the product features that are going to be, you know, generally available at this time. So that's coming out June 2nd, I believe. So I'd encourage anyone that's interested. There's going to be a lot of great content around the data exchange, Kevin. And I encourage anyone on the line that's interested to go to Snowflake's website, or you know, I'm sure if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I'll be posting about it quite a bit over the next couple of weeks. So you know, that's something where some great announcements will be coming out.
Thanks so much, Corey. We are now going to transition into the Q&A segment of today's webinar. And as we do that, I see that some of you have already submitted questions. Thank you very much for those. If you have a question for any of our speakers, go ahead and type it into the Q&A box that you'll find on your screen. We have plenty of time to take your questions. So let's jump right into this. We're going to go first to this question from Michael, and it looks like Corey and Mo, this one is for you. It's a Snowflake question. Whose cloud storage is data stored into, Snowflake's or the client's?
So I'll take that.
So, go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, so from a storage standpoint, it's we're using, if you're in AWS, it's S3, and it's going to be in Snowflake's VPC. You also have the ability to connect to your VPC as well. So if you're in Azure, it'll be the Azure Blob Storage, or GCS for Google Cloud Platform. From a storage standpoint, it's cheap storage. It's $23 a compressed terabyte, and it's there's a lot of failover already built into it. So within your different AZs that are available, we're replicating across all AZs. So if you're in US East, in AWS, for example, it's replicated across 6, 7 different regions. So if one one AZ goes down, it's automatically failed over to the rest of the availability zones, and it's seamless to the user without adding any actual query that's failing. I hope that answers the question, Michael.
Great, thanks, Mo. Let's move next to this question from Stan. Kevin, it looks like this one is for you. For folks that are new to data science and business insights, what's a simple way to begin the process?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And I think it, Corey and Mo certainly jump into it. The way that we've approached it is to really talk to our clients around their digital experience and how are they taking advantage of, to Corey's point, the multiple data, multiple data sources. We really see clients coming from a legacy environment gravitating towards this with some simple tools like maybe like a Microsoft Power BI or some other visualization tool that they've experimented with, and by spending time with different business leaders around how their company is looking to make easier, simpler decisions out of that data. Our workload and work profile and workflow profiling assessments are typically the easy way for us to do that. And those aren't heavy lifts. It's just a matter of understanding, kind of the company's go-to-market, what their competitive differentiations are, and then mapping this in. We think Snowflake is certainly, obviously, very, very relevant to the large enterprise at scale. But when we talk about the consumption model and the ease of use financially, we think Snowflake has a very good ability to address our small, medium businesses in Vermont because it is consumption-based, and we don't need data scientists to use the platform. The platform takes care of itself. So all of the high availability and things along those lines, it's very compelling cloud service. So we don't need all of those other resources to get the utilization. So hopefully that gives folks a little bit of guidance on how to get started. And it's just a matter of mapping in a little bit of the workflow and workload assessment process that we have into a conversation and seeing if it makes financial sense based upon their current business needs. We think it does. And I don't know if, Corey, do you want to talk about the pricing a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
Oh. Yeah, so there's 2 costs associated with Snowflake, right? So there's the storage cost, with which across pretty much all the cloud providers is standard $23 per compressed terabyte within Snowflake, right? So that's a pass-through cost from S3. It's a pass-through cost from Azure Blob and GCP. The other cost associated with Snowflake is on the compute side. So the compute that we have, as a cost is done on the per second basis. So if you instantiate a compute cluster, and our compute clusters come in t-shirt sizes, if you think of them like that. So there's an extra small, which is a 1-node compute cluster. There's a small that's a 2-node. There's a medium that's a 4-node, et cetera. So if you have a virtual warehouse, one of these compute clusters running for 1 minute and 34 seconds, right? You can auto suspend that warehouse once the activity is done, and you will only pay to the second for what you use. So that's really, completely different than anyone and I came from the infrastructure space for a number of years, right? So you only use it is a true consumption model. You don't have to prepare for the analogy we use is dressing for the coldest day of the year every day. Right? You don't have to do that. You can use or pay for exactly what you use. If you have spikes, say you have an end of the month report or a Monday morning work report that everyone accesses, you can instantiate multiple warehouses. You can increase the size of that warehouse to get the performance that you need. Once you don't need that performance anymore, you can spin that right on down and stop paying for it. Oh, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add there.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base on the data science piece of it from a data curation and data transformation standpoint. Most of the data scientists are using around 60 to 70% of the time just curating these pipelines. What we do is optimize that pipeline and then bring all of the data set that's available for all of your organization to then run all your analytics on there. So you can then connect with Zeppel, SageMaker, Spark, any of the machine learning tools that are available. We also have a partner connect where you can, with one click of a button, you can subscribe to, let's say a Zeppel, who's a machine learning provider. They provide a platform that you can test out for a month for free. And there's lots of open ecosystem connectors available where we integrate seamlessly with the data science tools, ETL, BI, data management tools, and so on and so forth.
All right, let's go next to this question from Jared. What is available from a data lineage standpoint? Does Snowflake provide this? For example, transparency back to source, any translation of data, and also data dictionary capabilities. Can you talk to that?
Sure, I'll take that one. So we partner well with companies like Collibra or Elation that provide these services from an ecosystem standpoint. Anything that's executed within Snowflake is available from a query standpoint. Each query has a unique query ID associated with it. So from that, you can get down to that level of details all within the Snowflake environment. But when you talk about an ecosystem, you would still need a tool like Informatica MDM or Collibra to maintain the data lineage from an end-to-end perspective.
Great, thanks, Mo. Here's a question about Splunk and whether it works in combination with Snowflake. Does it work in combination with Snowflake, or is Snowflake a completely different solution in purpose?
From a security analytics standpoint, we complement Splunk, and there have been cases where we've actually replaced Splunk as well. So it's how you would want to position it and build out some of those analytics for you.
All right. And Kevin, it looks like this is another one for you. The question is from Phil. Wants to know, does Snowflake work with Power BI?
Yeah, so again, it's part of the visualization packages, and it's a lightweight, easy way to do it. So, you know, we've had that question come up as far as, you know, both in some of the state and local, as well as some of the regional insurance providers. And if Power BI starts to, you know, grow into that market space and is the consumption of is the way to consume it, then, you know, that's where we're going to be focused in on it. So we're starting to see more of that come up, quite honestly, you know, especially as, you know, folks get exposed to Snowflake. You know, Mo and Corey, certainly, you know, when I hear Power BI, it's typically you know, a Power BI, or we're thinking about a Tableau, or, you know, a different visualization engine. What do you guys see as the majors out there in that space?
Yeah, and I'll let Mo speak to any more technical intricacies on the BI side. But yeah, I mean, we truly are agnostic on the BI side, right? Whether it be, you know, we see a lot of Tableau, Power BI, Looker, Click, you know, but we have connectors for, you know, native connectors for Tableau specifically, but Power BI as well. You know, we do really partner with any of them, you know, through an ODBC, you know, connector. Mo, I don't know, you know, I know you are more, you know, using these platforms when you do our demos and stuff. You know, what do you think on that front?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. We have native connectors, whether it's JDBC or ODBC for these BI tools, and we can connect with them. That's not a problem. And it's pretty seamless. And we have a long list of other BI tools that are being onboarded as well. And every week or so, we're rolling out a new connector.
Again, if you have a question for any of our speakers, we still have plenty of time left, so go ahead and type it into the Q&A box. We're going to go next to another question from Michael, and this one is once again for the Snowflake folks. Can you speak to the security to FA, SSO integrations with Snowflake?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So from a security standpoint, the security was built inherently into our product. Since we're completely built on the cloud, our security has been the main focus. We integrate with any SAML 2.0 compliant IDP provider. We have two-factor built in already from a single sign-on. If you're using Microsoft AD or Azure AD, we integrate with that as well, whether it's Okta, Ping Federate. So the options are available. It's all seamless from that standpoint. And then that encapsulates your ecosystem as well, whether it's from the ETL side or the BI side or the data science side. I hope that answers your question, Michael.
Mo, let's stick with you for another question here. This one is addressed specifically to you. It's from Jack. What are the limitations of computer elasticity?
So that's a great question. From a compute standpoint, Corey mentioned we have the ability to scale up as well as we have the ability to handle concurrency problems as well. So from, think of it as I'll put air quotes around it, unlimited scalability from the cloud provider, right? Whether it's AWS, GCP, or Azure, we can easily instantiate thousands of servers within a second for you to throw the compute power at the query that you're executing. So that will give you the bandwidth to then scale up. Let's say you have a data science query that's running for 4 hours. You want it to run faster. You can increase the size of the warehouse from a small to an extra large. That'll run in that same query will run in minutes. Then that gives you the flexibility of having the linear performance and then looking at the cost that's associated with it and make a decision on how fast you would want to run the query. The second way we scale up is through the multi-cluster warehouse, which is when, let's say you have your Monday morning or quarter end reports, you have hundreds of users coming in, accessing the same data. What we'll do is instantiate the same size cluster to accommodate these concurrent queries that are coming in. And we do that on the fly for you and then scale back down when the need is finished. And once there are no more queries running, we have an auto suspend feature for that compute cluster, so you're not paying for that anymore.
Great, thanks, Mo. Corey, here's a question specifically for you from Sarah. Can you talk more about the Snowflake data marketplace and what data sets are available there?
Yeah, no, so I know I touched on this a bit before with the data marketplace. So there really are data sets across all verticals that are available, right? So I specifically mentioned FactSet as a financial company that has their data sets, but there's a handful of financials, a bunch of retail companies. There's some real cool companies that are really just focused on aggregating data. I know there's one that, Braze, who has a lot of the IoT data on, different, like Domino's uses them for delivery data, right? So data like that, all different types of IoT data, retail aggregations. Mo, are there any other specific data sets that one specifically we have now is COVID data sets, right? So we have some companies, Star Schema being one of them, that have aggregated some of the Johns Hopkins data to allow our customers to pair their data with some of the trends that we're seeing out there with COVID and how that's affecting the country and the world, right? So Mo, any other specific ones that you like to hit on?
Yeah, there's a bunch of security ones. There's some travel ones, marketing ones, like you alluded to. There's some healthcare providers as well. There's a lot of government data that's available, along with some demographics and some business information available as well. And we're onboarding new customers at a very rapid clip here as well. So the biggest thing over here is from a data exchange or the data sharing pieces, you're not actually moving the data. Once it commits in your account, it's available to the rest of the organization or your external customers. So that takes away from building any EDI solutions or FTPs or SFTPs or maintaining your APIs. Any of that is mitigated. Once your data commits to your account, it's available to, based on the role-based access controls, you can expose columns and at the role level, what others can see and what they can't see. So from a security standpoint, that's also available.
Why don't we stay on the topic of data sets for just a moment here? We have another question from Jared. Can you speak to functionality that enables you to create data sets or views on top of underlying data to feed BI tools?
Yeah, I can take that one. So it's the data sharing framework that's we've built once and we're also an asset compliance database. So once the data is committed to your storage layer, it's available to the rest of the BI organizations. Whether you're running other workloads on it, once it commits, that's when it's available to the organization, and you can create views or materialize views on top of that to give your BI user as of reporting. We also have a feature called time travel where you can say, hey, what happened 60 days ago? And you can go back up to 90 days without actually going to the backup to get that data. So there's a lot of flexibility involved from a DR and business continuity standpoint as well.
Kevin, here's another one for you. This one came in from Kathy. Kathy wants to know, creating a TCO is the only way we'll be able to move forward with this versus our Azure solution. So do you help clients with that?
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. I feel like I'm getting set up for this one. But yeah, absolutely. I think part of our go-to-market is to really financially justify any of the technologies that our clients are looking at, especially in this marketplace. So using some simple business as usual models versus moving forward, we're typically doing the financial justification as part of any of our discovery and workshops. So as much as we're doing the workload analysis and looking at all of the intricacies that Mo is highlighting around the security and access and data sets, we know that this technology needs to also have a financial justification to either disrupt and or to bring in net new. So absolutely, we do help with that, and certainly those are some of the more funner conversations to be had. So I appreciate the question.
Still have time for a few more questions. We're going to go back again to Jared. I believe Jared wins our award today for most interactive attendee. The question is, can Snowflake handle updates or changes to data at the source that need to flow back through? Also, can Snowflake handle data conflicts from multiple sources? And is this managed within Snowflake or outside?
I can take that one. So we have a feature called tasks and streams where you can create a stream on the table that's feeding from the source, where you can then look at the deltas that are coming in. We also have customers using ETL providers like Informatica or Fivetran to do that, to maintain the slowly changing dimensions as well. So there's various ways of handling that, yes, but Snowflake inherently can handle all of those.
Mo, here's another one for you. This one came in from Debbie, specifically wants to know, how does the scale out services work?
Oh, that's a great question. So the scale out services is the brains behind the system. That's where the optimizer lives. That's where your transaction manager and the metadata manager live. So each time a query is executed and how the data, we know how the data is laid out in your storage. So the way you get performance is not by scanning all the data that's available, but only looking at the partitions that are accessing the query at the point of query. So when the query comes in, we're able to identify where those partitions are and bring the result sets back to the user in a timely fashion.
We have one question remaining here. If you're really quick, if you get your question in right now, we might still be able to answer it. Still have a couple of minutes left. But This one is from Doug, and Corey, I'm going to throw this one out to you. I know you talked a little bit about this, but it bears repeating. What are the costs of Snowflake and how are they calculated?
Yeah, so again, yeah, the costs of Snowflake are twofold. One is the storage costs, which are $23 per compressed terabyte. And the other cost is the compute cost, right? So, per second on consumption, for our customers that have capacity deals with us, you have a allotment of credits, right? And if you run a 1 node cluster for 1 hour, that's 1 credit. So, I'm not going to try to do the math here on the last 3 minutes of a webinar, right? But if you extrapolate that out from a 1 node cluster to a 2 node cluster to a 4 node cluster, that's really how you get the cost of our compute. So those are the 2 costs.
Okay, well, thanks to everyone who submitted a question. If a question occurs to you later, feel free to get in touch. We have the email addresses of all 4 of our speakers up on the screen right now. Before we wrap things up, Kevin, Jonathan, Corey, Mo, any closing remarks?
Yeah, Dave, just a thank you to the obviously the presenters and the folks on the webinar, and then all of the participants. Great questions. This is what happens when you expose a new technology into our partner ecosystem, and we're looking forward to these continuing. So thanks for everybody joining on a beautiful day up here in northern Vermont.
And just a few final notes before we wrap things up. Today's webinar was recorded, and you'll be receiving an email with a link to access that recording when it's available. So check your inboxes for that. That email will also include a link to a brief survey that we hope you'll take. We'd really like to know your thoughts concerning today's webinar, so please take a couple of moments to complete that survey. Thanks so much for being with us today. That does conclude today's webinar. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. Have a great day, everybody.